Thank you for the opportunity to share something about smart shipping and an experiment we've done a few months ago in Amsterdam. My name is Jelmer Lange. I work as coordinator shipping innovations at Rijkswaterstaat, and therefore I'm working for a national program to stimulate and organize smart shipping. And I also work together with other port authorities and waterway authorities to do experiments and to make waterborne transport more safe. And I will tell you a bit about both. I will try to stick to the time of about 25 minutes. If you do have a question that's really need to be asked at the moment, then put it in the chat, and maybe Manon, you can let me know if there's a question that I should pay attention to. And then I will start with something about the program SMASH, and then I will go into the pilot we've done in Amsterdam. So first a bit about shipping, smart shipping. Where is smart shipping at the moment? I don't think all of you will be very much into shipping, but all of us have seen smart systems coming up. For example, mowers that can find their own way autonomously without someone steering them. And on the other hand, cars, which have more and more the ability to drive themselves. And where is shipping? Well, a bit of both, a bit in between. On the one hand, we see now on the waterways small survey vessels, which can be compared to those mowers, which can do inspections or small surveys, remote controlled or by following a self-defined path. But on the other hand, we also have experiments on large vessels. Here on the right, which can be over 100 meters in length. And those vessels are still manned by a captain and a crew, but they have more and more systems that help the crew to go on the waterway safe and more automated. So a bit of both. And I think we're, as shipping, a bit late maybe in adopting new technologies. Definitely not the most innovative industry, but that also has advantages as we can learn from things that worked or didn't work in other industries, and can also benefit from the decreasing prices of sensors and data technology and apply them quickly in maritime concepts. So also our Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management, Cora van Nieuwenhuizen, saw that shipping was a bit late, and therefore in 2017 she started the program Smart Shipping to come to a safer, more sustainable and more efficient waterborne transport. So that's been here for 4 years now. So what is smart shipping? Well, for us it's defined as all innovations related to accommodating highly automated ships on inland and open waters. So it could be seagoing ships going to the UK or to China, but also inland shipping or even the very small inspection vessels. And it's not only about the ship, but also about the ship in an ecosystem. So how is a smart ship going through a lock or a bridge? How can we inspect smart ships? And can we introduce new logistical concepts when ships are more automated? For instance, if you have less costs in crew, maybe your vessel can operate being smaller, whereas normally over the past years only bigger ships were economically feasible. But maybe if the crew decreases, you can also operate small ships again. For us, automation is not always autonomous, and autonomous is not always unmanned. So it's not our goal to have unmanned ships on our waterways. It's definitely not a goal. But we do think that with the help of automation and more digital systems, we can reduce the cost and increase safety on the waterways. Well, why does the Ministry of Infrastructure support these technologies? Well, there are two main reasons. First of all, to increase and sustain efficient logistics over water. The waterways are already quite busy, especially near our locks. Sometimes ships have to wait. And if we look at the owners of these ships, the crew, yeah, quite often they are already at the end of their career. Often they're also owner of the ship, but it's difficult to find new entrepreneurs that want to take over the business. And yeah, it's difficult to find a crew for these kind of ships. You're away for the full week, not living at home, and you have limited access to a social life. So for a lot of young people, it's not attractive to become an inland sailor, man or woman. And yeah, well, perhaps by more automation and reducing the crew per ship, we can still maintain the transport load that is now being done by ships in the future. That's necessary because we can't have the load on our highways or on our rails. Another reason is that we have a very innovative maritime industry, ship designers, highly technology shipbuilders that have a reputation worldwide. And we believe that also smart shipping is part of that industry. Well, these are some experiments. As you can see, it's not only on brand new vessels, but also on existing vessels. I will highlight one of them. On the top right, you see a ship called the Factor 4, which is an inland vessel of 135 meters with a normal crew on board. But they also have a digital system, a situational awareness system with AI that helps the skipper or can overtake the skipper and still on its own. So based on different sensors, it can identify other vessels and identify where the river is going and then define its own path. And well, in this stage, the skipper still has to monitor the system, and it's not the goal of the company to sail without a skipper. But I do think that these kind of systems can help them to reduce the crew by 1 or 2 persons in the future, and that can make inland shipping more competitive. So these are some experiments that are being done at the moment. Well, also for Rijkswaterstaat, as fairway authority, smart shipping leads to a lot of new concepts and new challenges. For example, data. Normally, Rijkswaterstaat survey vessels identify the depth of the waterways, the rivers, which can differ due to rain or drought. But we see now that ships themselves also pick up this kind of data and start sharing this data in real time with each other. And that reduces the need for Rijkswaterstaat to come with a weekly update on the depth of the river, as ships continuously tell each other what the current depth is. So that's one of the things that changes our kind of work because of new technology and new systems that share data. So in the future, we will also see changes coming at our locks or bridges. But what will happen when a ship passes a bridge which is unmanned or sailing autonomously? How we will communicate with those kind of vessels? Those kind of things will change, and we also experiment with those things at the moment. Well, a few weeks ago, we launched the Netherlands Forum Smart Shipping, the Dutch Forum on Smart Shipping, which is no longer an initiative only by the ministry, but now together with 14 other organizations, such as ports or research facilities. And it's a community that's open to everyone. If you would like to know more about smart shipping, you can join us, follow our events, and also participate in workshops. And /Nederland.nl is our website where you can find more information. So that was the first introduction on smart shipping, and things that will come to our waterways in the following years. And to make sure that we are ready for that, we experiment with new technology on our waterways. And we did so last summer in Amsterdam, together with Waternet, politie, the city of Amsterdam, and Port of Amsterdam. And what we tried here is to increase our maritime situational awareness. So we as authority try to increase our vision on the water. Now I'm going to start a movie, and I will ask my mom if she can see it. It's going to start now. Can you see this, Manon? Okay, so here you have a camera which is placed on top of the Port of Amsterdam office in the back of the Amsterdam Central Station, and it's located at I, the waters near Amsterdam. As you can see here, it's a very complex, busy waterway. No matter what kind of weather it is, day and night, you see ferries crossing, you see river cruises that are making turns. Of course, recreational yachts, pleasure yachts that are coming from the canals. They're all using the same space. And although rather maybe less complex than roads where you have bicycles and pedestrians, you can see here that still it's quite complex to automate or make an autonomous ship ready for these kind of interactions. And one of the problems is that there are not a lot of rules on the water. There are rules, of course, but not as explicit as on our ways. We don't have lines on the water. You can see that there is water, but you can't see the depth. So you can't always see where you are allowed to go or able to go. And we have a lot of different ships. You saw a cruise ship going to the sea. You see very small ships or even rowboats. So it's a very large mixture. And it also makes it very interesting to do experiments here.
Scary.
It looks scary, but fortunately there are hardly any accidents. And I think because there are few or little rules, every skipper is very much aware that you have to look around and you have to take your own decisions. And you can't sail autonomously or automated. You have to be very careful, and therefore it's safe. So this is a very interesting area to do experiments, where Port of Amsterdam is doing the vessel traffic service, so the vessel traffic management in the city of near the city of Amsterdam, and Rijkswaterstaat is doing vessel traffic management in the top of the picture, where the locks are, and the canal to Utrecht, Amsterdam Rhine Channel Canal. So it's a mixed zone with different kind of ships and also two authorities. And to do vessel traffic service, we have different technologies. Traffic services in complex areas. For instance, here in Amsterdam, where Port of Amsterdam is doing this, but also on, for instance, the Waddenzee or other busy junctions or canals. And in these areas, you have a radar system, which is positioned on shore, and radar system reflects ships, and therefore we see with radar that ships are moving and passing by. Another system is AIS, which is a system to identify and to locate ships. So it's a secondary system next to radar. And in AIS, we can find the name of the ship, the destination, the cargo, the ship heading or speed. Then we have VHF, which is a radio communication system to talk with a skipper, and also with cameras. So these kind of systems give our VTS operators a situational awareness on busy areas on the water. And an image could look like this. This is near Dordrecht, where you see in the blue the water, the different ships which have a radar and an AIS identification. The VTS operator can click on those ships to find out what the name is, where they are heading, And if you want to communicate with them, we use the VHF, the marathon. Well, that works fine. We have these systems for more than 50 years in the Netherlands. And yeah, there are about 10 or 12 areas. But we do see that for small vessels, for pleasure yachts, it's often not possible to see them in this situational awareness systems. So they are too small to reflect on the radar, or moving too fast to reflect on the radar. They often don't have a marathon or VHF, which is not obligatory for small vessels, and not on all waterways. You can't see them with AIS. It's a system which is quite costly, so private ship owners often don't have it. And also with cameras, it's difficult to see is that one or two ships. So that's a problem for us. We do see the professional skippers, but we often can't really see the recreational users. And yeah, to give you an idea what that could lead to, I will start a new video here.
Ja, hij doet het.
Yeah, on my side it needs to load. Yeah, here it goes. So this is a animation to warn recreational users on the risks on the water. If you go on a sunny day, you think you're going to enjoy the weather, see new sights, and you rent a boat, you go on the water. But the professional skipper, you can see it from their deck. It's very difficult to keep an eye on those small vessels, and the differences in size and in speed can lead to unsafe conditions.
Mm.
As I said before, luckily it doesn't happen very often, but we do see that if something happens, the
impact
can be quite severe. So we really want to avoid anything from happening. And it's also something that skippers, professional skippers, say to us as ferry authority that they see as a risk. So this is for us a very interesting area to do some tests, as we have a large group of ships, mixed both professional and recreational. We have two ferry authorities, which is interesting to work together. And we want to test here with new technology to especially see or detect the recreational users better. And normally this year was going to be the year of Sail Amsterdam, which was supposed to happen in August. And that would have been a perfect test case for a digital experiment with a lot of vessels on the water. So we reached out to the other companies or organizations that are involved and started brainstorming about how to test increased safety. Unfortunately, Sail was cancelled due to Corona, but we still continued with our experiments as it was some days quite busy on the water, so there was enough to test. And part of our team was also Waternet, together with the city of Amsterdam, and they had experience with following recreational users in the canals of Amsterdam, where for a few years now, each vessel that is there for has a normal stay for longer than a day is obliged to have a RFID chip on their ship, which is also used to pay for their harbor fees. But these RFID chips can be read out from a distance, and that allows Waternet as manager of the canals to see where it is busy, how often ships are going from one canal to another canal, and monitor the busyness of the different canals. And next to RFID, they also installed cameras that can detect vessels and count them. Now, this is something that we, in this experiment, want to scale to a larger water. So from the canals, which have a a width of maybe 20, 30 meters to the open waters of it IJ, which can be in width 100 to 300 meters and has a length of kilometers. And what we wanted to test here is, can we apply these technologies on larger waterways? So we looked at this area where both Rijkswaterstaat and Port of Amsterdam do vessel traffic management. And we found out from what are our hotspots, and can we install at those hotspots RFID readers and cameras and learn how good they work in larger waters. So these are our test objects. The green bullets are cameras, and the purple bullets are RFID readers. This for a month we collected data. The cameras were installed with software to make counts, so they count whether a ship is going from east to west or from west to east. And the RFID readers, they only see that a RFID number is coming by. We can't see who the owner is or what kind of ship it is. We only see there is a RFID number in the area. And with these kind of data, we can make counts. And with those counts, we can make heat maps. And one of the concepts we have in mind is that you can see, like you can also see in Google Maps, how busy it is on the highway, from green, yellow, or orange colors. But you can also use it on the waterways to see how busy it is with recreational users in different colors. Well, these are some of our test results. We gave one of our own vessels also a RFID chip, and we could log their GPS track and compare it with the RFID sensor registrations. So now we are in the process of analyzing the data, and we have a few conclusions already. There's some advantages and disadvantages on both systems, and as I can say at the moment, both are not perfect. So maybe a combination in the future can be our best solution. Advantage of the RFID chips is that they work day and night, and also in bad weather. And with the cameras, we do have problems with especially bad weather at night. It's very difficult to count vessels when it's a rainy night. On the other hand, the cameras, they can still learn. The software can be optimized or programmed and increased. Whereas, the RFID system is as it is, and it's difficult to increase the quality. And disadvantages of the... If you have a question?
Well, because from what I understood, you missed a lot of ships when counting.
So disadvantage of the RFID system is that you only count the vessels that have a vignette. So if you want to see how busy it is, and only 10% of the vessels do have an RFID on board, then it's quite difficult to find out the busyness. But at the same time, there's also a limit in reach, where it works very well on the canals, which have a quite limited width of 20-30 meters. We see that the RFID vignettes on open water, they can work up until 50 meters. In theory, it should be around 100, but in our experience, it's about 50 meters. And that could be caused by where on the ship is the RFID positioned, are there waves on the water, is the RFID reader at a certain height or close to the water. So these are some things that we could improve, but I don't think that more than 50 meters is really possible. So these are some experiences we had so far, and we hope to take them into a next step and further increase our situational awareness on the water, and thereby increasing the safety in the Amsterdam IJ, but also other waterways.
Nice, yeah. Thank you.
That was my presentation, yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting and not too long. So the chat is open for questions. There is already a suggestion. I have like, because you said we use Google Maps on the streets, and most of the people on the small boats also have their phone with them. Is that not accurate enough to use also on the water?
Well, in theory, Google has data enough to say something about how many users are on the water. And yeah, I think if Google would come up with a solution like they have on the highways or streets to identify the busyness, they could also do this for the water. For us, it's difficult to make a distinction between the number of phones or number of people and compare it to a number of boats. Yeah. So if you have a cruise ship with 5,000 people on board times 5,000 phones, it's only one vessel.
Yeah.
And that also is for the city cruises or the ferries.
Yeah. There are some suggestions in the chat as well. And those, I don't know if, can you see the chat yourself?
Yeah, I can see it here.
Those are about alternatives, like LoRa-based, RF, other RF technologies, 5G.
Yeah.
But it all would mean, I think, convincing those small recreational boats to have those technologies embedded.
Exactly, yeah. So the benefit here of using RFID was that a large group of the recreational users already have those kind of chips on board, as they need them for accessing the city of Amsterdam. So therefore, we didn't have to convince users on the waterway to take this chip with them. There could be other technologies that have a better quality, maybe a further reach or a better battery time. But therefore, we would also need to convince the recreational users to adopt these systems.
Yeah. But have you tested them, or are you interested in testing what could work best?
Well, I think for now we're trying to find out if a heat map helps our VTS operators to identify areas that should be extra supervised. If that is the case, then we can also find out what is a better way to find the data we need. So we're now building a prototype of a heat map to test with our VTS operators. And if that works, then we can find new ways to improve the data collection.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of suggestions, so I think if you want to get into that,
reading that.
alternative technical suggestions. There's also a question from Peter about the RFID chips, because they need this electromagnetic signal to be activated. And what does that mean for the intensivity?
Is that rather intensive if you want to bridge 50 meters? Well, I'm not really sure what the question
Peter,
is about.
do you want to unmute and explain what you mean, if it's bad for the people inside the boats, or?
Yeah. I understood that the RFID chip itself does not have a battery and receives its power from its own antenna by electromagnetic field generated by the reader.
There is a battery in the RFID chip.
There is a battery.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
and
Then
that battery works for a few years, so 4 years.
There are active and passive RFID tags. The passive ones are the ones enclosed, for example, and the active ones are those used in the harbor. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
The active tags.
Thanks, Erik. Then there's a question about computer vision, because there's a lot of progress, technological progress in this area of computer vision, object detection. I sent you the video of the cars. But the challenges will be different on the water, probably. But are you looking into this?
Yeah, so we installed a camera on the highest building of the Port of Amsterdam, which is, I think, 20 stories, and another one in the middle of the eye, also on a high building. And from there, on a clear day, you have a perfect view, and with computer software, you can really identify vessels. And I believe that even by learning these systems, you can even differentiate that this is a recreational vessel and this is an inland shipping barge. So that really has a potential for the future. But also two downsides. You need a high point of view. We also experienced that if you install the camera on water level, it's very difficult to have a good view on a large part of a river. So you need a high access point. And the second disadvantage is that it doesn't always work under different weather circumstances. So the quality is really high in good weather, but it turns really bad in foggy or rainy or during nights. So therefore, it is interesting, but it's not the only solution we can rely on. Is that the answer?
Yeah.
So I think combining data sources is definitely necessary.
And the smartphones we have talked about, computer vision. I think there's the question also about, are you already working on predicting the next position of a vessel, the next reading of the RFID, so that you can measure speed and predict its direction? From what you told, I think that's one step further.
Yeah, definitely. So now our VTS operators, they can see in the AIS system what the destination of a ship is, if they also have AIS. And from there, they can also see what the direction would be. Is he going to IJmuiden or going to Utrecht? Then you can see, well, normally we'd go left or right. But to predict where he will be in the next 30 seconds, that is something that we're doing research on, but we don't use it in the vessel traffic management.
I have one question also about, in the beginning of the talk, you explained that a lot of boats are also communicating among each other already. For example, sharing the depth in the waters. Yeah. And is this an initiative from the shippers themselves, that they've decided to add extra sensors to their boats to increase overall safety for each other?
I think we as a ferry authority are increasing our awareness, and the same goes for professional inland skippers. So they have more and better cameras to see their angles that they can't see from deck. They have better radar or radar systems. And I think in the future you will also see ships sharing their data, which is now data on the depth of the waterways, but maybe in the future also on what kind of objects do you see around you. If you could share those images, you would get a much better situational awareness in a busy port or a busy waterway.
Yeah. That was what I was thinking on. For one thing, maintenance.
Yeah.
So is this data also available for you? And second, also for situational awareness. If they share all their cameras, you could recreate an overall image of how many vessels in which position are on the water.
Yeah, that's definitely something to explore for the future. If we share the data from different sources, both onshore and on the water, that would lead to the best image of your surroundings.
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks a lot. You are open. I knew we discussed before, if people have ideas, they can always approach you. They can find you on LinkedIn, because you're looking also for more angles to tackle this problem.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for sharing. I cannot.
Yeah, thank you for your questions and your time.